Trump Game here, coming at you with another episode from ChooseYourRelationships.com. Offer of A Chicken's Guide to Having Women Beg for You, Sex, Lust, and Lies, which can be found on Amazon.com. And you know, there's a lot of dating advice being given today, especially online. And the mainstream media, which consists mostly of daytime talk shows when it comes to dating advice, they've been giving the same old tired, watered down advice for the past 20 years that I can remember. It's the same old shit where you have women on television talking about, I can't find a man. They keep lying to me. They hurt my feelings. He ain't treating me right. He cheated on me. I mean, it's the same story over and over and over again. And you have women arguing over men, and women disagree with this, men disagree with that. And it's always the same types of women giving advice and receiving advice. If you really pay attention to that, you can go back to all the way to the 80s and 90s and compare the people on television today compared to back then. It's always the same type of women and men giving advice. Which brings me to my point. When it comes to women, you should never take dating advice from women. I'm not saying that you shouldn't listen to women when it comes to certain aspects of relationships. But women, they can only go but so far as telling you how you should approach a woman, how you should talk, what type of actions you should take. I mean, women, for the most part, last I checked, they can't really relate to men when it comes to very much anything. It's very little. Average woman don't even understand men. So why would you as a man take advice from a woman? This is why I always say women can't raise young boys by themselves, because you got to have that balance, the yin and the yang. Because women are very emotional, and they can be very controlling and very manipulative, at times as well. So what you have online today, especially even in some of these women on television, they call them wing girls. And a wing girl is basically a girl that goes out with the guy in public. Could be a restaurant, club, or out in public with the guy. And she basically tells the guy the mistakes he's making, what he should be doing, or what he shouldn't be doing. So she basically gives him pointers. That's what most wing girls do. However, some of these, that only goes but so far. And some women can't relate, especially if you're from another nationality, another culture, or another country, uh, you know, there's a disconnect there. Plus, you have a lot of these wing girls having workshops all across the country in places like LA, especially LA, New York, Chicago, Miami, Houston, Dallas, Seattle, all over the Midwest. And most of their target market is, or the ideal prospect is, young white guys now. Because, back in the day, if you know about history, white guys didn't have to learn game. They didn't really have to learn pickup, or they didn't have to learn how to talk to women. They didn't have to do it because the women automatically played her position. Because white women back then didn't have any rights. They were in the house. So white guys had all the power, influence, and all the resources to themselves. So that's why white guys didn't have to learn game back then. But today, women have rights now. White women have rights. So it's like an imbalance of power. And a lot of white guys, they don't like how white women are acting out here today. This is why you see a lot of white guys, they get the next thing closest to a white woman, which is the Asian woman. And white guys have a fear of losing all their assets and money and resources and investments once they have kids and get married and everything. They have a fear of being 40, 50 plus years of age or better, and the woman gets a divorce and takes 50 or sometimes up to 80%, depending on what state you live in. Take up to 80% of all their resources, and he has to start all over damn near. So instead of not having to deal with that fear of loss, they just go get an Asian woman because they don't trust the white women. So they have like a civil war amongst themselves. You know what I mean? So, and plus, there's a lot of white women teaching. I think there's more white women out here teaching dating advice than males, period. But that only goes but so far because, well, okay, you got John Gray. He wrote a book probably like 30 years ago called what's the name of it? I forgot the name of the book, but it was one of those watered down books that came out 30 years ago. And even him, he's a white man, but he can't relate to. He'll have a hard time relating. He's an older guy too. He should be in his 60s by now, 60 something. Even him, he would have a hard time relating because his market is usually, ideal prospects is usually couples. And he can't relate to you if you are a non-white couple. I mean, he's never been stopped by the cops. He don't have to worry. He can live where he wants without having to think about anything. He can go about his way without having to worry about cops or any financial situation or any. He's never been discriminated against or had any incidents of racism. So how there's a disconnect there. I mean, if you like today, the average psychologist, you can't even talk about anything controversial in their office. They'll kick you out. So this is why I always say, not only shouldn't you talk to or take advice from women, you shouldn't take advice from anybody that don't look like you. That means you shouldn't take advice from a man that don't look like you. Period. I mean, whoever you take advice from should have a proven track record consistently of doing whatever you want. They should be in the position that you want to be in one day. So in other words, if you want to get married and you're a man, the person that you're taking advice from should be married, which is me. I'm a good example of that. If you want to build a business, the person that you should be taking advice from should be a person that has built the business. If you want sex advice, the person that you should be taking sex advice from should be a person that knows what they're doing in the bedroom. I think you get my drift. But someone that doesn't understand your culture, how you grew up, where you're from, your nationality, someone that doesn't have empathy for you or compassion, it ain't but so far they can go with you. They can't really, it's going to be a disconnect. Sure, she can give you pointers and tips. She can say, hey, if a woman says this to you, she's probably bullshitting. If a woman doesn't call you back after a certain amount of time, you're probably not interested. If a woman is giving you mixed signals, she's probably not interested. If a woman has sex with you one night and you haven't heard from her in a while, she probably got another man. Yeah, she can give you pointers like that. Another woman can you can introduce a woman to another woman, and y'all can be sitting down at a table having a conversation, and after a while, another woman can tell after a certain amount of time that this woman might be a hoe. Yeah, they can do that. They're good for that. You know, other women can tell if she's a hoe, or she's loose, or she's low class, or she's being condescending, or she's, all that shit. Other women can tell. So they're good for that. But when it comes to giving advice to men point of view, and as far as teaching men how to think and making some shit happen, I just don't think it's a good idea. You need a man's perspective when it comes to that. You need to talk to a man that looks like you. If I want some wisdom, I'm looking for a guy that looks like me. I'm not looking for a guy that looks like Dr. Phil. I'm sorry. You know, Dr. Phil, he's just a hillbilly from, I don't know, Texas, wherever he's from. But he don't understand my struggle. I'm from South Carolina. I'm not from Texas. That's a disconnect right there. I mean, he's what? I don't know, 50 something, 60. I'm in my 40s. I mean, we didn't grow up together. I mean, what do we have in common? You see what I'm saying? That's the disconnect right there. So how you gonna take advice from somebody, from a white person, a white woman, somebody that don't understand you? Y'all didn't grow up together. Doesn't understand you. Don't understand what you go through on a weekly basis, monthly basis. Don't understand. Basically, in American society, if you're not white, you're fucking damn near invisible around this motherfucker. I mean, and when they have these workshops around the country, they're not really talking to you. When they do videos online, these white women aren't really talking to you. Their target market is young white guys. I mean, you can show up at their website or show up at the workshop. You're welcome to show up, but they can't relate to your struggles. They don't know what to tell you. Really. Our situation is totally different in this country. I mean, it's totally different all around the world. We're disenfranchised people in the United States of America. I mean, white folks aren't disenfranchised. What's she gonna say to you? She don't know. So that's why you should never take dating advice from women, especially white women. You know? So, if you need help in your dating life, I wrote 2 books about it. The Chicken's Guide to Having Women Beg for You, Sex, Lust, and Lies, and Love Can't Wait, which can be found on Amazon.com. And the links is right below this video. Plus, I have an ebook version that's right below this video as well. And the best part about it, you can start reading it right away. You don't have to wait to get it shipped to you if you buy the ebook version. And if you want to work with me directly or you want some advice, leave your comments below. And I'll be able to help you with probably any situation you probably can think of. And a lot of that's my trials and tribulations and my stories I put in my book. And some I didn't put in my book. So if you like what you heard, subscribe to my channel, ChooseYourRelationships.com. Until next time, Sharp Game is out. Peace.